The Gulf of Mexico holds its breath. 3 miles offshore, where the water turns from jade to midnight blue, steel titans devour the seafloor. Their mechanical jaws tear through sediment older than human memory, older than the pyramids, older than the ice that once buried half the world. Each bite sends tremors through the deep, vibrations that ripple past sleeping coral cities, past the bones of creatures that ruled when continents wore different faces. The machines pause. Silence spreads like oil across the water. Then they resume their feast. This is not destruction. This is resurrection. But resurrection of what? And at whose expense? The answers lie buried beneath 66 million years of silence, in a scar that changed the face of the earth and may be about to change it again. Time collapses. Imagine the sky on fire. A mountain of rock and ice, 6 miles wide, screaming toward Earth at 45,000 miles per hour. The impact vaporizes oceans, turns forests to glass, throws molten stone into orbit. The shockwave circles the globe 7 times. Darkness falls for months. The dinosaurs never see another dawn. What remains is a wound. The Chicxulub crater, 90 miles of shattered limestone, hidden beneath the northern edge of Yucatan. But wounds, even ancient ones, never truly heal. They fester, they remember, and sometimes they bleed. The Maya knew this. They saw the cenotes, crystal blue sinkholes that pierced the jungle floor like eyes, and whispered of portals to Xibalba, the underworld where gods and demons played their eternal games. Sacred sites, forbidden waters, places where the earth revealed its secrets to those brave enough to look. Spanish conquistadors called them miracles of nature. Scientists call them geological time machines. The indigenous elders, when pressed, call them warnings. For centuries, this wounded land slept. Emerald jungles swallowed Mayan cities. White beaches hosted only turtles and storms. Limestone that had been shattered by cosmic fire refused to support the weight of modern ambition. Massive ports, deep harbors, the steel arteries of global commerce. Yucatan remained beautiful, isolated, forgotten. A sleeping giant, magnificent in its dormancy. But giants never wake gently. Yucatan's isolation was no accident. It was geography's curse, written in shallow seas and fragile limestone. From space, the peninsula juts into the Gulf like a stone thumb at the crossroads of continents. North America, South America, Europe. The Caribbean archipelago scattered like emeralds across sapphire seas. Every shipping lane, every trade route, every flow of goods and gold should have passed through these waters. Should have, but couldn't. The shallow seas that made the beaches paradise made the ports impossible. While Veracruz and Manzanillo rose as Mexico's maritime giants, Yucatan watched from the sidelines, strategically priceless, economically worthless. The locals built a monument to their frustration. Progreso's pier, stretching 4 miles into the Gulf like a concrete ribbon thrust toward the horizon. From the air, it looks impossible, a highway built into the sea, leading nowhere and everywhere at once. Engineers pushed it deeper in the 1930s, desperate to reach water that could float a real ship. They extended it again in the 1970s, chasing the retreating edge of relevance. For a while, it worked. Freighters docked, cargo moved, hope flickered, but the world grew larger. Ships became monsters, steel leviathans stretching 3 football fields, carrying 24,000 containers in a single voyage. The pier that once seemed miraculous became a cruel joke. Now they hover offshore like metallic whales, too massive to approach, too valuable to risk. Each ship forced to detour costs exporters 12 hours and thousands of dollars. The longest pier on Earth became the most haunting symbol of opportunity lost. That frustration turned to hunger when the numbers changed everything. By 2025, nearly $1 trillion in trade flowed between Mexico and the United States, a torrent that made Mexico America's largest trading partner, surpassing China, surpassing every rival that once seemed unshakable. Nearshoring flooded Mexican factories with new purpose, assembling the goods that fed the world's hungriest market. But what good are humming factories if their products can't reach the sea? 3 ports, Veracruz, Manzanillo, Lázaro Cárdenas, struggled to handle the flood. Ships queued for days, costs spiraled, and there, tantalizingly close to Florida, to Europe, to the Caribbean, sat Yucatan, the perfect gateway that no one could use. The irony was maddening. The solution was obvious. If the sea was too shallow, then the sea itself would have to change. Mexico turned to the giants of global engineering. Jean de Noul, the Belgian company that carved new islands from the Persian Gulf, that deepened the Suez Canal, when the world learned that single choke points could strangle global commerce. On June 19, 2025, the first dredgers arrived like a fleet preparing for war. The machines are beautiful in their monstrosity. Cutter dredgers with rotating blades that grind compacted earth into slurry. Hopper dredgers with suction pipes that plunge into the seabed like feeding proboscis. They work in shifts, around the clock, a mechanical ballet choreographed by GPS and tide charts. Around them, cruise ships and cargo vessels still dock, forcing a delicate dance of commerce and construction. But each bite into the sea floor releases sediment plumes, dense clouds that billow like underwater sandstorms. Light dies, coral polyps suffocate under blankets of silt. Seagrass meadows vanish overnight. Spawning grounds collapse. Fishermen return with empty nets, their voices hollow. The sea is angry. The sea remembers. Engineers deploy floating curtains to trap the clouds. Scientists install sensors that stream data like digital heartbeats. Mangroves are replanted in desperate green rows, yet some wounds refuse to heal quickly. The Gulf fights back, but the Gulf is losing. And as the sea surrenders to steel, inland rails begin to sing. The Tren Maya was supposed to be a tourist train, a romantic journey through jungle and ruins. But revolutions outgrow their origins. What rises from the jungle is the backbone of a logistics revolution. The 43 miles connecting Mérida to Progreso transform everything. For the first time, ships unloading on Yucatan's shore feed directly into rail cars. Containers move from ocean to inland factories in hours, not days. The mathematics are ruthless. A container from Hamburg that once detoured through crowded Veracruz can now glide from Progreso's docks straight into Mexico's industrial heartland. For global logistics companies, this is alchemy. Chaos transformed into precision. But the jungle remembers what was taken. Every mile of track carves through wildlife corridors millions of years in the making. Jaguars find their territory severed. Archaeological sites, temples aligned with celestial precision, disappear under ballast and cross ties. Indigenous communities block construction with their bodies. Elders speak of ancient pathways, sacred geometries connecting the living world to the realm of ancestors. The land has memory, they warn officials who refuse to listen. The land will remember what you've done. But memory works both ways, and the tremors from Yucatan's transformation ripple across oceans and continents. In Washington, Pentagon strategists study shipping manifests like battle plans. Every container bypassing Chinese ports weakens Beijing's leverage. Every factory relocating from Asia strengthens North America's industrial fortress. Progreso isn't just a port, it's a piece on the global chessboard, where nations position themselves for economic dominance. European corporations prepare to flood Mexican markets through channels that don't yet exist. Across the Pacific, Asian ports that built wealth on being indispensable suddenly face competition from a harbor carved from limestone and ambition. The great game plays out in container manifests and infrastructure loans, but the stakes are measured in the balance of global power. Yet, in the villages along the rail line, older powers stir, forces less easily measured in spreadsheets. Construction crews uncover the dead daily, skulls with jade inlays, obsidian blades still sharp, ceremonial altars stained with ancient sacrifices. Underground chambers reveal walls covered in astronomical calculations of impossible precision, star charts mapping celestial cycles spanning millennia. Most disturbing are the alignments. Entire cities positioned to track cosmic events, as if watching the sky for signs of returning doom. The rail lines cut straight across these ancient observatories, indifferent to their warnings. Displaced families speak of shared dreams, visions of Earth cracking open, waters rising, storms darkening the sun. Curanderos burn copal incense and offer prayers to gods whose names were forbidden by Spanish priests, but never forgotten. You are waking what should sleep, they tell anyone who will listen. You are breaking seals placed for protection. Officials dismiss such talk as superstition, but the ecological toll mounts beyond any projection. Coral reefs suffocate. Sea turtle populations crash. Fishermen speak of waters that taste different, of currents flowing in directions that defy their father's knowledge. Yet the most disturbing changes happen too deep for human eyes to see. 66 million years is not such a long time, not for a wound that shattered Earth's crust. The Chicxulub crater sleeps beneath limestone layers, but it has never been truly dormant. Underground rivers follow fracture patterns carved by cosmic impact. Cenotes mark the crater's rim like blue eyes, each one a window into the planet's traumatic memory. Now, dredgers tear at the crater's edge. Deep-sea sensors record anomalies, methane bubbles rising from seafloor vents, salinity fluctuations suggesting underground freshwater breaching ancient barriers, micro-tremors rippling through bedrock in patterns that echo seismic precursors. Official reports classify these as routine disturbances, but researchers whisper of less routine possibilities. What if the impact fractures run deeper than suspected? What if dredging destabilizes chambers that have held for millions of years? Divers exploring cenotes near the dredging zones report subtle changes, shifts in water clarity, unexplained currents, distant rumbling from Earth's depths. Some refuse to dive certain sites, claiming the water feels angry. Above ground, the Trenmaya's sensors detect vibrations that don't match rail traffic, deep pulses originating underground and propagating through limestone bedrock. The vibrations continue, as if the Earth itself grows restless. And in the Gulf, where dredgers work through nights under floodlights that turn water silver, something stirs in channels carved deeper than any machine has reached. Something that has slumbered since the age of dinosaurs. The storms arrive with unnatural precision. Satellites track perfect spirals, gathering strength over waters 10 degrees warmer than they should be. Each hurricane tracks toward Yucatan as if following invisible rails, waves surging higher than any storm surge in recorded history. Progreso's platforms disappear beneath walls of water, months of progress vanishing in hours, But within days, the machines return. Larger cranes, stronger platforms, deeper foundations anchored in bedrock fractured when the world was young. Each reconstruction builds bigger, as if the storms are not setbacks, but tests demanding more dramatic responses. Local meteorologists stop making predictions. The storms don't follow patterns anymore, they follow purpose. In the depths where dredgers carve new channels, bioluminescent creatures that haven't been seen for decades begin appearing. Ancient species from abyssal trenches, now glowing in shallows like living stars escaped from the underworld. Marine biologists have no explanation. The creatures shouldn't survive in warm, shallow water, unless something far below is driving them upward, unless the deep places are no longer safe for old forms of life. The deadline approaches like a falling star. Late 2026. Every day of delay costs millions. Global supply chains have been reconfigured around assumptions that Progresso will open on schedule. Failure is no longer an option. The machines work with desperate intensity, crews pushing beyond safety protocols, beyond environmental regulations, beyond warnings from scientists, indigenous leaders, and officials brave enough to question the pace. In the deepest channels, strange objects surface, not fossils, geometric shapes that don't match known geological formations, metallic fragments corresponding to no terrestrial element, stones carved with symbols predating human civilization. The artifacts disappear into government warehouses before proper study. Official reports mention geological curiosities, but leaked photographs show objects that look less like random stone and more like technology, devices created by intelligence operating according to principles modern science doesn't recognize. Indigenous elders nod grimly when shown the images. We told you. You are digging up things buried for reasons. You are opening doors sealed for protection. But the doors, once opened, cannot be easily closed. From the deepest excavations, where human lights penetrate darkness existing since before mammals walked Earth, a sound emerges. Not mechanical, not natural, but something between. A resonance that sets instruments spinning, makes construction workers refuse night shifts, causes marine life to flee in patterns forming strange geometries when viewed from above. The sound grows stronger each night, as if something vast and patient is finally ready to wake. In the dead of night, under a moonless November sky in 2026, the final explosive charges detonate exactly as planned. The seafloor splits along precise lines. Sediment clouds billow upward like underwater mushroom clouds, carrying debris of deep time toward the surface. But something else rises with the debris. The lights fail first, not just on dredging platforms, but on ships for miles around, as if water itself has become hostile to electricity. Emergency generators sputter and die. Satellite communications cut to static. The Gulf goes dark, except for phosphorescent glow spreading outward from the deepest excavations, cold light emanating from the water itself. The marine life comes next, not fleeing this time, but arriving. Whale songs echo from depths where no whales should survive. Dolphins breach in formation, their clicks and whistles forming patterns that sonar operators swear sound like language. Deep-sea creatures surface in impossible numbers, their bioluminescence adding to the eerie glow now covering hundreds of square miles. Below them, in channels carved deeper than any dredger has reached, something vast moves through water that has become viscous, almost gelatinous, as if the ocean itself is changing state. The Trendmire's sensors record seismic activity along the entire rail line, not earthquakes, but rhythmic pulses following ancient fracture patterns mapped by Mayan astronomers. Cenotes that have remained still for centuries begin to churn, their sacred waters rising and falling in tidal patterns matching no known gravitational influence. In Merida, car alarms sound simultaneously. Dogs howl in harmony. Birds take flight in spiral patterns, mirroring the hurricanes battering the coast with increasing frequency. In the deepest channel, where human ambition has carved closest to the ancient impact site, the seafloor cracks along lines, forming a perfect spiral. The same pattern found in hurricanes, galaxy arms, shells of creatures that lived before the first stone was shaped by human hands. The crack spreads outward, not up toward the surface, but deeper, into layers of stone that remember the day the sky fell and the world ended. From those depths, the sound that has been growing for months finally finds its voice. Not a roar, not a whisper, but something that bypasses ears entirely and resonates in bones, in blood, in the deepest parts of human consciousness that still remember when humanity was not master of the world, but just another species hoping to survive the night. The port of Progreso stands ready to receive ships that will reshape global commerce. The Tren Maya stretches steel fingers deep into the peninsula's heart, ready to carry continental wealth across awakened land. The ancient scar, disturbed after 66 million years of healing, prepares to reveal what it has been guarding in deep places where light has never shone and human ambition has never reached. The sleeping giant is awake, but giants, once awakened, follow their own will. What rises from the deepest waters of the Gulf may not be the destiny Mexico's leaders imagined when they decided to make the ocean bend to human dreams. In the phosphorescent glow spreading across the trembling sea, the future writes itself in languages older than stone, older than memory, older than civilizations that tried to warn the modern world about the price of waking what should forever sleep. The Gulf of Mexico holds its breath no longer. Now it speaks.